Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're going to be tackling part 5 of our lesson time tutorial series, Team Building. If you haven't done so already, make sure to check out the first 4 episodes in the description below or at the card at the end of the video. Now, when it comes to OPTC, the most fun I personally have is team building. Besides my love for the franchise, team building for content is my favorite part of the game. Today, we're going to be going through some of the basics, looking at captain effects, special abilities, sailor effects, ships, and even some supports. But before I begin, I want to make it clear that there's not one team that can beat all content. So tailor making a team for particular content is what makes OPTC so fun and so unique. Now, OPTC does a great job of allowing you to jump into certain quests without consuming stamina until you clear it to check out the content. But there are also a lot of helpful guides out there and videos to help you with what to expect with particular content. In today's video, we will be talking about captain abilities, team synergy, special abilities, and even touching on some support effects and ships as well. So with that said, let's dive in. So when it comes to team building, the team is made up a total of 6 units. 1 being your captain, 4 sailors or subs, and then a friend captain. Each unit has a particular cost, and their cost will vary depending on their rarity and how much that character is evolved. Your cost value increases with your pirate level, so you want to get that bad boy up as quickly as possible so you can use as many powerful units as you have access to. Most importantly, legend characters. You also have supports for each character as they directly go into your cost value as well. And you have a ship, but we'll talk about that towards the back end of the video. When choosing the right captain for your squad, there are a couple of things you want to take into account. Within OPTC, there are 3 big categories when looking at your captain abilities. Units that are rainbow captains, meaning you can basically use any unit under them to get their captain ability. Type-based captains, these types of captains boost a particular type. Class-based captains, boosting particular classes like slashers or fighters. And there are even some captains that can combine both class and type, giving them multiple different dimensions to team building. Firstly, we have rainbow captains. These units include things like Roger, a 4.5 times attacking captain to the entire team. This Roger can actually boost the team by 5 times when he activates his special. Or something like Toadskii, who is a 4.75 times captain. These types of captains are usually the most versatile, and while they have access to every single character, that doesn't mean every single character will have their best use under them, but we will talk about that a little bit more when it comes to the specials. These types of units are typically the easiest to team build for, as they literally have access to every single unit in the entire game, making team building for whatever content you're coming up against a lot easier to swallow. Next, we have captains that boost types. Within the game, there are 5 types, and captains make use of this by boosting a particular type. For example, characters like Zoro give a massive buff to the Dex type, or Luffy gives a 5 times captain to strength if you have particular slots. The strongest of these being super types. They further enhance your team's potential when building color-based teams. These particular captains are usually used heavily within the game for clearing stuff like GARBS challenges and type-based content. When the content has a lot of dex-based enemies, it's pretty viable to being a strength-based team under Luffy. If the content has a lot of quick enemies, dex-based teams work excellently here too. Next, we have class-based captains. These can get a little bit tricky when team building, but gives you access to multiple types of units. When building class-based teams, the idea is to synergize all your units under the same class. Some strong class-based captains include Ace vs Kainu, giving incredible buffs to Free Spirit and Shooter for Ace, or Driven and Powerhouse classes for a Kainu. Or characters like Dofi can be a 5 times captain to Driven, and Katakuri gives the same to Powerhouse characters. These types of captains need a little bit more of an established box. But when putting together the correct team, synergizing it well, these teams can ultimately be the most powerful. Finally, there are actually some characters that can have the combination of both type and class-based captain abilities. When it comes to advanced team building, these characters are incredibly powerful, not only giving you a monstrous buff to particular types, but also to particular classes. opening the door to many and multiple possibilities with team building. Characters like Yamato 6 Plus provide big buffs to Sai, Striker, and Free Spirit classes, and characters like Law provide big buffs to Cerebral and Slasher classes, but also the Dex typing. Whilst these characters open the door to many possibilities for team building, it can get a bit complex. And if you're a bit of a perfectionist like myself, trying to fully synergize the team can be a little bit of a head scratcher, but that doesn't mean the teams can't work. In fact, in multiple situations, you don't actually need full synergy for these teams to work, as they provide a whole different dimension to team building, giving you access to a variety of different units. In some cases, captains give you access to utility in their kit as well. Characters like the Redhead Pirates can bypass Special Bind, and characters like Roger can bypass Despair. But that's something that we'll talk more about when it comes to specials. Once you've decided on which direction you'd like to go with your captain, it's time to start filling the team out with some sailors or some subs. When selecting the right sailors, you want them to match what your captain is providing. For example, if you're building a strength-based team under Snake Man Luffy, you predominantly want to include characters of the strength type. If you're going with a more class-based captain, you want to look for sailors that are the same class to the one that your captain is boosting. For example, slasher-based teams are full of characters that have the slasher class tag, so that they get buffed under your captain ability. Using the filter system, you can sort through your box by what you're looking for, i.e. class or type. Looking for characters that synergize with your captain is very important to make sure that you get enough damage output to take down the boss's HP. But when selecting the right sailors, their specials are just as, or if not, more important. When selecting a solid captain for your crew, you not only want them to have a very powerful captain ability, one that benefits your entire team boosting their attack and HP stats, but you want a captain that can provide something else with their special ability. Remember, you only have 5 spots on your crew, 6 with your friend captain, so utilizing specials is the key to clearing content. Within OPTC, there are a bunch of different types of specials to help you clear content. I've tried to put them into 3 major categories, being damage-based specials, utility specials, and damage reduction or healing-based specials. When team building, you need a combination of these specials to not only get around damage output to take down the boss's HP, but you'll also need particular utility-based specials to get around certain debuffs that the particular content may throw at you. Firstly, we have damage-based specials. These specials allow you to do big numbers, clearing and getting through enemies' HP values, and ultimately taking down mini-bosses or bosses' HP. These aren't all of them, but damage-based specials include straight damage specials, like raw damage to the enemy either fixed or based on the attack of the unit, attack buffs, directly boosting your character's attack stat, slot buffs, increasing the effectiveness of the slot multiplier, slot manipulation, changing slots and increasing the character's attack if they are matching, type affinity boosts, increasing your type affinity when attacking the opposite type, for example Dex against Quick. When applying these buffs, you need to remember that you cannot stack multiple of the same attacking buff. For example, a 2x attack buff for Quick won't stack with a 2x attack buff for Slashers. It will prioritize whichever buff you use first. However, you can stack attack buffs and slot buffs for the same types or classes. So plan your teams wisely and use particular buffs to help you get through the boss's HP. I personally like to prioritize attack buffs over slot buffs, and love using things like high value chain locks or chain boundaries to allow my units to do big numbers. When team building, the game has a very handy tool for finding the correct damage output specials that you'll be looking for. In the edit crew menu, you can change the filter in the top right hand corner of the screen. Once you've clicked the button under filter on, you can swap over the filter. Scroll down to the special and hit the arrow key. From there, you can see a bunch of different filters, and if you select boost damage, you can filter through all the characters that will give you the benefit that you may be looking for. Next, we have utility-based specials. These particular specials are some of the most important in the entire game. These specials make a sailor very valuable, and particular characters that can give you a lot of utility in one special are very, very valuable. For example, legends like Corazon or Chopper can remove a bunch of different debuffs, making them very valuable because they can remove multiple things that OPTC will throw at you, and these can be very overwhelming at times. Utility-based specials help you bypass these nasty mechanics and remove enemy buffs. There are many different debuffs in OPTC, but I've done my best to single out the ones that you see most of the time and what they do. These include things like Bind, completely restricting a unit and taking them out of play completely. Despair, which will only apply to your captain but completely remove their captain ability. Paralysis, restricting the tapping of the paralyzed unit depending on the severity. Best not take the chance. Block slots, halving the character's attack regardless of their type. Special Bind, stopping them from using their specials. Special Reverse, rewinding characters' specials by a certain value. Poison, dealing damage at the end of the turn. And Burn, that can do damage depending on how many perfects you hit as end of turn damage. The enemy can also put up stuff like damage reduction buffs to themselves. This can reduce your damage significantly through things like defense up, damage reduction, threshold damage reduction, and even nullified damage. There are many other debuffs within the game as well. Within OPTC, there are a bunch of characters that can help you get around these particular debuffs. If the enemy applies Bind and Despair to your captain, you want to bring a Sailor that can remove both. That way, you can save spots on your crew to give you stuff like damage output, or remove other debuffs that content may throw at you. Characters that can remove multiple different debuffs are incredibly valuable, and sometimes, some characters just feel like they were built for specific pieces of content, as they have the perfect combination of utility and damage output to get past a particular stage. Once you have an understanding of what content you are trying to build for, you can build the team with the correct units to satisfy what you need for that particular piece of content. When selecting units for your team, you need to make sure they not only satisfy the damage output or utility needed for the team, but you also need to make sure that they get boosted under your captain ability. This is where the search feature comes in once again, allowing you to sift through your box comfortably and easily, finding the correct units to get the job done. Characters within OPTC also have access to support units. Once you hit Pirate level 100, you gain access to the support mechanic. Now, supports also go into your team cost, so be mindful of that when team building, and leave this till the end. However, supports can really give you an edge when beating content, and really help get around particular debuffs the enemy may throw at you, saving spots on your team for other units that can either provide damage or other utility-based specials. However, units with powerful abilities can only support certain characters. For example, Rayleigh can only support Luffy, or Odin can only support Whitebeard and Roger. Supports can be incredibly powerful, however, and can remove debuffs like we spoke about in specials, or even give you damage output provided you satisfy their condition. Characters like Corazon can attach to Law and can remove 2 turns of Bind, Paralysis, and Despair when it's applied to your crew. Or other characters like Super Type Zoro can support Dex units to have a 1.75 times slot boost, and can be incredibly valuable in endgame or harder based content. For early players, I wouldn't be too concerned about this, as there's already so much to digest, but hopefully you'll get the hang of it the longer that you play. Finally, ships can also be incredibly useful. They all give extra multipliers to your crew's attack, and some can even give more attack and HP to certain classes or types. Some ships have other effects too, like giving matching slots, reduce special charge at the start of the quest, making it easier to hit perfects, and even have specials. Some incredibly powerful ships for beginners are the Ho ship or the Oro Jackson. So all in all, team building can be quite tricky, but the more you practice, the better you know the content, the easier it will become. Take it slow to begin with, and don't be afraid to reach out to the community when looking for tips on how to become better team builders too. Team building in OPTC is by far my favorite aspect of the entire game, and the satisfaction that overwhelms you when completing a piece of content that you have been struggling with for a while is something that I really love and enjoy about the game. But that's going to wrap up the video for today though. Let me know your best tips for team building in the comment section below, and while you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button, and if you're new to the channel or you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. Also, if you do want to check out the rest of the lesson time playlist, I will leave a link in the description. Make sure to go check out the previous 4 episodes and the future episodes that will be coming after this particular video. Most importantly guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Later!